So there really is an island in the sky, just as Father Benedictus said. I wonder if he was right about there being something helpful here too. Is that a temple of some sort? Well, there must be some reason we were brought here. Shall we go and find out what it is?
No. Father Benedictus said that we should seek out the floating island, for there we would find a power to banish the darkness. Well, this certainly seems like the right place, and if this power is anywhere, it's probably inside that building. Let's go and have a look, Tran.
I must speak with you.
That structure at the top of the island appears to be some sort of temple, but its architecture is unlike anything I've seen before. Perhaps those who built it come from a culture entirely similar to our own. Perhaps they still live there even today. Have you seen these funny round nooks dotted around the edge of the island, laddie? It looks like something's supposed to slot into them, but I have no idea what.
You wanted to speak to me?
If Father Benedictus' prediction was right, there should be something on the island that will help us defeat the Lord of Shadows. What was it he said? A power to banish the darkness? I wonder what it could be. Another sword, perhaps?
Huh?
I'll be honest with you, honey. When Father Benedictus told us about the islands floating in the sky, I thought maybe he'd had a bump on the head.
Oh.
But it turns out that the legends of our boy are all true. All of them, from flying whales to islands in the sky. I'll never doubt a word he says again.
You good?
Man, I can't believe this whole island is floating in the sky. Seriously, there's a building on it and everything. What the heck's keeping it afloat? I guess I don't know as much about this world as I thought I did. Thought it was a chest, it's just a rock.
We can see you, you know. Come out from behind there. Huh? What is it?
Ah! It's you! I'm of the Watchers.
The Watchers? And what are they?
Of course. Ground dwellers, not snow. Not snow of us. We watch over Erdrea. Watch for as long as Erdrea exists.
Well, what do you know? And what are you doing skulking behind a pillar, Mr. Watcher?
This is home. Home of all of us. Once were many islands, many watchers. But attack came, Lord of Shadows. All crashed. Only this island remains. Only me.
That's awful.
Mordegon got to you guys too, huh? Sounds like you've been through a lot. Sorry if I was out of line just now. How come you survived anyway? And why did this place get left alone?
Guiding light burns within, has burned since time began. Was in Temple of Dawn, here, was cleaning. Attack came, was protected by guiding light.
This guiding light of yours sounds pretty special.
Oh, we're here looking for a special something to help us defeat the Lord of Shadows. Do you think the guiding light might be it?
Not know. Is not weapon. Cannot defeat. Perhaps. Wish to help. But I'm only child. Know little of world yet.
Guess we'll just have to take a look for ourselves then, huh?
Yes. But what are we going to do about our poor little friend here?
Not worry. I'm fine. I'm Watcher. Story of Watchers not over. You beat Lord of Shadows. Then World Tree returns. Cycle restored. Life and rebirth. Dead ones get new life. My brothers, my sisters. all begins again. Please, Luminary, succeed.
Wait. You know who he is?
Okay.
Yes?
I feel a great power coming from within this temple. Perhaps this is the guiding light of which the Watcher spoke. We should take a closer look at it, Tran. Perhaps it will show us the way ahead. That poor little thing is the last of his people, and he's only a child. It must be so tough for him. Still, we have to do what we can to cheer him up, and I'm not going to rest until we defeat the Lord of Shadows, and every man, woman, and Watcher has a smile back on their face. So there used to be more of these floating islands till the Lord of Shadows came along. I guess he saw them as a threat. He must have wanted to destroy the guiding light thing, along with any hope of ending the darkness.
Are you all right?
The Watcher only survived because he was protected by the power of the guiding light. Sounds like this power could be what we need to stand up to the Lord of Shadows, Tran. Never could I have imagined a people whose home was high in the sky among the clouds. To think, they have been here since the beginning. They have done well to keep their existence hidden.
Let's have a nice wee chat, shall we?
Our Watcher friend had heard of you, laddie. It seems he knew all about the Luminary. But then, if they'd been watching over the world since the time of Erdrea, I suppose that's no surprise. I only wish there were a few more of the wee fellows here, so we could ask them about defeating the Lord of Shadows. It looks as though we'll have to make do with what our new pal told us for now, though. Having summoned the great Cetacea, Tran and his friends take to the skies in search of a means to defeat the Lord of Shadows. They find the floating island Benedictus told them of, and enter the temple they find there, where they meet a child, but not a human child. He tells them that he is of the Watchers, a people who have stood guard over Erdrea since time itself began, but alas, he is the last of his kind. Mordegon's forces assaulted the village en masse, and it was only thanks to the protection of Temple of Dawn and the guiding light within it that he was spared. The little Watcher wonders if it might be the guiding light that Tran and his companions are in need of, so they decide to investigate the Temple of Dawn further. Been here since beginning, my people, Watchers, watching, protecting flame. Seek flame and temple, learn more, learn of power to banish darkness, perhaps. A mysterious energy emanates from the ceiling. It feels similar to the energy given off by Yggdrasil's roots, but nothing happens when you touch it.
Oh, it's beautiful and so holy. I feel purer just looking at it.
Wait, the mark!
Whoa! Did all that light just get squished down into that little thing?
Tran acquires the guiding light.
Oh, look! I sense something very special in them. I know this feeling. Yggdrasil. I think you should take a closer look, don't you? I've a feeling they have something rather important to show us. Are you all right?
There's no doubt about it. The power that emanates from the sacred ceiling is the power of Yggdrasil. Take a closer look, Tran. I have a feeling they have something rather important to show us.
A word, if you please.
The Watcher told us that the guiding light has been burning since the beginning of time. Such a claim sounded preposterous at first, and yet it clearly possesses an extraordinary power.
Let's have a nice wee chat, shall we?
There's no doubt about it, lad. You can tell from the way the mark on your hand glowed that the guiding light has some kind of deep connection to the Luminary. Aye, there's more to this power of yours than any of us can imagine.
You wanted to speak to me?
3 seedlings in the temple appear to have great significance for the Watchers. I don't know what kind of power they have, but even I can tell those are no ordinary plants.
Oh my.
Honey, do you think those cute plants can show us visions of the past as well? It has to be worth a shot, right? Go on, take a closer look.
You know, I've been thinking.
Look, Tran, look at the light. That's no regular torch. There's something about it, something reassuring, something that promises to keep you safe. Deep within the temple, Tran finds the guiding light, and as he approaches, the mark on his hand begins to glow. The light is transformed, and after taking possession of it, he turns his attention to the 3 saplings that surround it. Sacred flame that will burn for all eternity. Tran places the guiding light on the palm of his hand and examines it closely. Inside this odd receptacle, the flames burn brightly and steadily, like those of a tiny sun. Touch the seedling. Nope. Alright.
You all saw that too, right?
Yes, that man. The mark on his hand. Oh, you don't think...
Aye, I do. And I've a feeling you've the same instinct, laddie, eh? That was Erdwin, the luminary of legend.
No duh!
I never thought I'd see him with my own eyes.
So those were the original heroes? The ones who defeated the Dark One way back when? The more we know about them, the more chance we have of finding out how they beat him, right?
Ah, you're not wrong. Let's see what those other seedlings have to show us, shall we?
Hey!
The people in the vision we saw, they must have been Erdwin and his companions, right? Let's check out the other seedlings. Maybe we can find out how they managed to defeat the Dark One.
Oh, hello.
The woman with Erdwin must have been Serenica. She was so beautiful. My sister and I were always brought up to believe we were her reincarnation, but I don't see any resemblance. Perhaps that was merely a story, who knows? But now that I've seen her for the first time, I do feel a curious connection.
Could it be...
The aura that Erdwin was holding was unlike any material I've ever seen. As one who knows the rudiments of smithery and who has some experience of the forge, I can tell that it was something truly exceptional.
Let's have a nice wee chat, shall we?
You saw him, didn't you, laddie? That man with the same mark on his hand as you? That must have been Erdwin, the first luminary. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but there's clearly some connection between the fate of the first luminary and what we're supposed to do next.
I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but...
It seems these seedlings share the power of Yggdrasil and can show us visions of the past. But these visions feel different to those we have seen before. There's something very special about these seedlings, that much is clear.
Perhaps.
What in the world was the first luminary doing on that strange floating island? What was that stuff he was holding? A rock? A lump of metal? God, there's no point in me idly speculating. Let's see what the other seedlings have to show us. He tells them that he is one of the Watchers and of how the Lord of Shadows attacked his village, and he was saved by the guiding light. Tran approaches the light, which responds to the mark on his hand, and transforms it into a form which he is able to take with him. With the guiding light now in hand, he turns his attention to the saplings which surround it. The first presents a vision of Erdwin, the luminary of legend, and his companions find a strange glowing aura on the floating island. The party soon realize this may be a clue as to how the Lord of Shadows might be defeated, and resolve to examine the remaining saplings.
Did you see the size of that hammer? Was it just me, or did it seem special somehow?
It was no weapon, that much is certain. A forging hammer, if I am not mistaken. But what were they forging?
I wonder... Well, I think we all know where they were at least, don't we?
Let's see if the last seedling makes things any clearer. Hello.
Those two seedlings have showed us extraordinary visions, but we still don't have a clear idea of what we should do next. Perhaps the final seedling will show us the way. Did you see that hammer, honey? It was huge! Do you think that's what they used to drive the darkness from the world? Well, whatever it was, we need to find out more.
Hey!
Something about Erdwin reminded me of you, Tran. I'm not talking about his face or his hair or anything. I just mean, there was something about him, you know?
Oh, hello.
The desert we saw in the vision looked strangely familiar. Do you think we might have been there before, Tran?
Yes?
The hammer that Erdwin wielded did not appear to be a weapon. It was more akin to a tool that one would use in a forge. I studied the rudiments of smithery and know something of the subject, yet I am at a loss as to what this might mean.
Interesting.
Seeing those visions of the past, it looks like Erdwin and his companions traveled the world just like us. Aye, and we both had a mortal enemy to defeat too. For Erdwin, it was the Dark One. For us, it's the Lord of Shadows. There's no doubt about it. Our destinies are intertwined. He tells them that he is one of the Watchers and of how the Lord of Shadows attacked this village. He was saved by the Guiding Light, which Tran quickly takes possession of. In the same room sit several saplings of the World Tree, the first of which presents to the party a vision of ancient hero Erdwin and his companions gathering a peculiar ore. Approaching the second sapling, Tran sees a vision of Erdwin and his companions coming to possession of a great hammer. Whatever it is, he suspects that this too must hold some clue as to how the Lord of Shadows might be laid low. Doesn't really matter which order you do it in, because they stop glowing when you touch it, so you have to go through the same tree. So if I started from the right and went left, I'd imagine it to be the same visions.
I know that view. I'm sure of it.
So if I understand what we saw correctly, they found some ore and a hammer, then went up a mountain and forged a sword. Wait, of course. The Sword of Light.
Indeed. They would not have gone into battle with the Dark One unarmed.
Yes, that's the power we need. That's how we'll drive the darkness from the world.
But Mordegon took it, right? Unless... Are these visions trying to say we need to... Yeah, that must be it. We need to make our own Sword of Light, just like the old heroes did. All right, we've got ourselves a plan. Not much of a plan, but we'll just have to fill in the gaps as we go. Let's start by paying a visit to the places we saw in those visions. I'm betting we'll find some more clues there.
Aye. It looked like they found that ore on another one of these floating islands. I reckon we'll need to have a word with our wee pal about that.
And that was Gallopolis in the vision where they had the hammer, right? Maybe the Sultan knows something.
Oh, and I remember now. That mountain. It's the volcano near Hotto, isn't it? How could I forget?
I have no idea how.
Oh, it sounds like we're going on a wee world tour then. Hotto, Gallopolis, and whatever that other island happens to be.
It seems we're setting off on another adventure, Veronica. You'll be with us in spirit. I know it.
All right, let's go to work.
Seems the mine where Erdwin found that ore was on another floating island just like this one. Let's have a word with our wee Watcher pal and see if he knows where it is.
You wanted to speak to me?
Before doing battle with the Dark One, Erdwin and his allies combined their strength and forged a Sword of Light. If we do the same, we may give ourselves a chance of defeating the Lord of Shadows.
How wonderful!
Erdwin and his pals found that hammer in a place that's very close to my heart, Gallopolis, where we first met. Now how about we should go and have a little chat with the Sultan? You know what we have to do, right, Tran? If we want to defeat the Lord of Shadows, we're going to have to forge a new Sword of Light. As long as we follow in the first luminary's footsteps, we're sure to find what we need. Okay, man, once you're ready, let's hit the road.
Are you all right?
There's no doubt about it. The volcano where Erdwin and his companions created the sword is Mount Fuji. Somewhere within that mountain, there must be an ancient forge. We just need to find it.
Listen.
We must come together and forge a Sword of Light, just as the first luminaries and his companions did before us. Their names live now in legend, but they were also but flesh and blood. If they did it, there's no reason why we cannot.
Let's have a nice wee chat, shall we?
Having summoned the great Cetacea, Tran and his friends take to the skies in search of a means to defeat the Lord of Shadows. They find the floating island Benedictus told above, and enter the Temple of Dawn. There they meet a child, the last of the Watchers. Tran recovers the guiding light from the depths of the temple and turns his attention to the Yggdrasil saplings surrounding it. Examining each in turn, he is granted visions of Erdrea, luminary of legend, and his companions gathering ore and a great hammer, and crafting a mighty sword with them at an enormous forge. Realizing that the weapon wrought by these ancient heroes is none other than the Sword of Light, the companions set their sights on recovering these same items and forging just such a sword for themselves.
You find, Luminary? Thing you seek?
Tran explains everything he and his companions saw.
All is intriguing. Remember a tale from my grandfather. Guiding light helped ancient heroes. Helped in forging of sword. Sword to beat darkness. You have seen their quest. Floating island. Island of vision. This is called Battleground.
Battleground? Why would anyone go looking for ore on a battleground?
Mine was there. Mine of great ores. Great powers fought for ores. Great battle occurred. Great losses. Great pain. Victors took all. No ore. No more. Perhaps. Tale of centuries ago. Perhaps tale false. Perhaps or remain. Perhaps.
Well, it can't hurt to go and have a look now, can it? Come on, you lot.
If you forget purpose, if you need clues, come to me. Tales from Grandfather may help. Good luck!
Havens above. Stalk them and get the clues. First luminary took guiding light, traveled world, made sword to banish darkness. Follow in footsteps. Follow first luminary. Am only child but can help. Give advice. Want advice? No. Come if you seek advice again. Only child but can help. Please luminary. Succeed. Need ore for sword. Need hammer too. Hammer ore to make sword. First luminary found ore in sky. Ancient battlefield. Floats in sky like this place. Seek hammer in place you know. Desert kingdom. Name is Gallopolis. Finally need forge. Mountain. Mountain above Hato. Seek it there. Must work together. Cannot forge sword alone. The battleground.
Oh, hello.
Fog that covers this place has a malign energy that'll drain our spirits if we stay here too long. If only there was a way to... Wait, that's it. We could use the guiding light to clear it. Its pure energy could dispel the fog.
You wish to speak with me?
It seems a fierce battle was fought here in ancient times. It is easy to credit. Though it was long ago, the spirits of the fallen still appear to haunt this place. Our wee pal told us that all the ore might have been taken after the battle they had up here. Here's hoping there's a little bit left for us, eh? Come on, let's get hunting.
You wanted to speak to me?
Ore here must be something very special if entire armies fought for control of this place. I suppose the stuff used to forge the Sword of Light was never going to be just any regular old ore, was it?
Perhaps.
Honey, this place is just enormous. It's like a whole mountain's ended up in the sky. One day, someone will have to explain to me how places like this in Yggdrasil manage to float.
Hey!
So this is where our Watcher pal told us there was a big battle for control of this precious ore, right? Well, let's hope they didn't trash it all and there's enough left to forge a sword. Come on, Tran. Let's see what we can dig up. The mysterious object looks like some kind of giant candlestick. Light it with the guiding light's flame? Yes.
Oh, yes!
You did it, Tran. The guiding light got rid of the horrible fog that covers this place. And your foot is twitching. I'm still sensing something evil around here, though. We'd best take care.
I must speak with you.
Hello.
You know, I've been thinking.
Another day, and
Did I do all right?
and stay down.
So this led... Okay, yeah. I'm just making sure that I... So that led all the way around. An inscription has been carved into the ancient stone. It looks as if it was left by the Watchers. Watchers float above world. Watch, protect. This island is home, here from beginning. Not just home to Watchers, home to ore, special ore to banish darkness.
Thank goodness.
Well, that was easy.
Uh-oh, the treasure chest is actually a Pandora's box.
Surrender your soul!
Be gone!
Nice. Also nice. Just making sure there isn't any others. There was one I definitely saw that I couldn't reach, but I didn't know if there were more than that. I don't think there is. This is the clanking guy I heard earlier too, so that solves that. Inscription has been carved into the ancient stone. Island not just home to Watchers, home to ore, special ore to banish the darkness, or make special weapon to restore hope, weapon to save all Erdrea. They came. Monsters serving Dark One came to steal ore. Fierce battle. Watchers fought monsters. Much bloodshed. Much sacrifice. Peaceful land ruined. Now known only as Battleground. That makes a little more sense. I thought the little guy had meant that the Watchers were fighting Watchers for ore to fight each other. Can't tell, are these also smog bonnets? They look a little more blue.
Did I do all right?
Hello there, handsome. Fancy a quick puff puff? No. What a shame. Well, whenever you want to go to heaven and back, you know where to find me. Don't be a stranger, sweetheart.
We win again.
Okay, I actually didn't expect the game to let me do that. It's probably the way you're supposed to come in here, but... Yeah, okay, that's where he went in, so this, yeah. I mean, I knew this wasn't what a cave I'd been into, but I want to make sure I've covered all paths. Dark One attacked, battle raged, Maying fell, precious ore lost, but some remains. One day will be needed again, perhaps. Watchers protect last seam of ore, protect until end, protect until World Tree calls us home.
Wonderful.
Well, that...
Bad axe. This is, yeah, that's the way. And these two entrances should lead back to that other path. Erdrea was at peace, but then disaster. Darkwind came. Hope turned to despair. Only Luminary can defeat him, only with sword. Sword of precious ore. That might be the correct way to go, so I'm gonna try exploring the rest of the battleground that is available to me at this time. Doesn't look like that there's that much available, but...
Did I do all right?
I was expecting a Pandora's box. I was not expecting that.
Wonderful.
Alright, looks like that's about it.
Something tells me we've found our special ore.
You have got to be kidding me.
Honey, are you okay?
I'm more than okay. Do you know what this is? It's orichalcum. Do you have any idea how much this stuff is worth?
Orichalcum? Well, well. I've read about it in books, but I've never seen it with my own eyes. Are you sure, laddie?
Am I sure, he asks? You bet I am. I steal valuable stuff for a living, remember? This is it. The rarest metal in the world. I wish Mia was here to see this. So this is the ore we were looking for. I should have guessed. Imagine what a fortune you could make with a lump this big. Sorry. Got a little carried away there. Don't worry, I get it. This here ore is strictly for sword making.
Tran acquires a lump of orichalcum.
We're one step closer to making that sword, but we've still got a way to go. Let's hit the road.
That's it? No boss in this giant room? We took the whole ore? Huh. I expected to be ambushed or whatever, I don't know.
Oh, yes!
We did it! We found the orichalcum! We're one step closer to forging the Sword of Light. Once we have everything we need, we should head to Mount Huji and look for that ancient forge.
You wish to speak with me?
I learned how to forge weapons in my youth, but I've never encountered a metal as hard as orichalcum. A sword forged from it could surely stand up to anything wielded by the Lord of Shadows. I look forward to seeing the finished article on the battlefield. I was worried that all the orichalcum would have been carried off as spoils of war, but it seems that we were in luck. We might even have enough of the stuff to make ourselves a sword. Fingers crossed, eh?
Hello.
The power that emanates from the orichalcum is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Now I can understand why wars were waged to get hold of it.
How wonderful!
Oh honey, isn't it beautiful? That orichalcum really is out of this world. I can't wait to get a good pounding back in Mount Huji so we can forge ourselves a sparkling new Sword of Light.
You good?
I'm not the world's biggest expert on lumps of ore, but you just have to look at that orichalcum to know that it's special. I'd even go as far as to say it's better than anything I managed to find during my glittering career as a thief. Not even in my inventory? Oh, I guess we'll be getting more than one of these. Long thought to be a legend, this magical metal is famous for its strength. Make a save and try discarding and see what happens. Is that it? No ambush, no nothing? So weird. I do get that this is kind of like a triple segment quest, so yeah, but anyways. This is no real point to flying over there, we have to actually zoom to it. Gallopolis.
Now then, laddie.
Erdwin managed to find himself a hammer here on Gallopolis, laddie, and there's no reason we can't do the same. Now that the panic over Erdwin's lantern has settled down a little, let's see if the Sultan can't help us.
You wanted to speak to me?
We saw Erdwin standing in the desert of Gallopolis with the hammer. It must have some connection to this place. The Sultan seems to know a lot about his country's history. I think we need to go and speak to him.
How wonderful!
The hammer we saw in the vision was amazing, and absolutely enormous to boot. If we had that, I just know we could forge the best sword ever.
How's it going?
I guess we should be grateful that thing didn't crash into Gallopolis. It would have made it next to impossible to find the hammer we need to forge the Sword of Light.
Did you want to talk to me?
Now that Erdwin's lantern is gone, things are slowly getting back to normal. I think this is a good time to ask the Sultan whether he knows anything about the hammer we need.
Yes?
Unless we find the hammer Erdwin used to forge the Sword of Light, we will be unable to make one of our own. Our situation is clear, Tran. Without that hammer, we stand no chance of defeating the Lord of Shadows. Oh, okay, I guess we needed to do the Erdwin lantern before doing this one. That would explain the Hato quest too. Instead of doing it at that time, you would have to do it to use the forge. You have come in search of a giant hammer from the Age of Heroes. A hammer said to be kept here in Gallopolis. Myself have never heard of such an item, but if there is something to know, His Majesty will know it. You should go to the palace and inquire with him. Nighttime till you won't let me in. Visitors are not permitted to enter the palace after dark. Return in the morning, please, should you wish to speak to the Sultan. No entry at night.
Is there something I can help you with, Lord Robert?
As a matter of fact, there is. I need to pick your brains about a giant hammer that's supposed to be kept here in Gallopolis. We're going to need it to defeat Mordegon, and apparently you lot have had it since the Age of Heroes.
A giant hammer, you say? Ah, yes. You mean the forging hammer. It has been in the royal family for generations. Ferris, fetch the forging hammer from the treasure room.
Aye, this is it. This is Erdwin's hammer, the one we saw in the vision.
Father, do you truly intend to give the hammer away? We had intended to sell it in order to fund this year's Sun Nation.
Silence! Insolent boy. The forging hammer is one of Gallopolis' greatest treasures. It has been handed down through the generations since time immemorial. But if we must relinquish it, then so be it. You are the only ones who can defeat the Lord of Shadows. If you need it, it is yours.
Super easy, but that's because I already completed the prerequisite quest.
My nurse once told me that the power of the spirit of the land resides within the forging hammer. It is said that it can beat even the hardest of metals into shape. At least, I think that is how the story goes. Well, I hope it helps you on your quest. Best of luck, dear friends. I shall be expecting good news.
Oh, aye!
Well, laddie, we've got ourselves a forging hammer, and let's track down the rest of the stuff we need. Once we've got everything, we just need to locate the crucible. Apparently it's concealed somewhere deep within Mount Huji. Now we have the forging hammer, we can make our own sort of light. But this one's going to be even more powerful than the one Erdwin used.
Fabulous!
Did you hear what Principoo said about the hammer, honey? He claims it's imbued with the spirit of the land's power. Imagine that. That should make it mighty enough to bash any kind of ore into shape. Come on, let's get forging.
You know, I've been thinking.
Man, I'm starting to worry about the Sultan's finances. First he goes and sells the rainbow, and now it seems he was planning on selling the forging hammer too. Still, if we don't forge a sword of light and defeat the Lord of Shadows, his finances will be the least of the Sultan's worries. Thank goodness we came here before the Sultan sold the forging hammer. Remember what happened with the rainbow, don't you? I don't think any of us have the patience for any more of that.
Listen.
The forging hammer is exceptionally light and easy to swing. Indeed, it seems to have been designed with those who are not professional smiths in mind. Truth be told, I'd rather like to use it as a weapon, though I dare say that would be somewhat ill-advised. Tran, well, old friend, has the forging hammer proved useful to you? It is said that the power of the spirit of land resides within it, and that it can beat even the hardest of metals into shape. It sounds rather ideal for an intrepid adventurer such as yourself. I believe in you, Tran. I believe that you will defeat the evil that calls itself the Lord of Shadows. We Gallopolitans shall also do all that we can to assist you, of course. May the desert wind be always at your back. My husband told me that you are Tran, the Prince of Dungersville, and that you're on a quest to defeat the Lord of Shadows. Ferris has informed me of your quest to defeat the Lord of Shadows. Perhaps you're not aware of it, but my boy is very fond of you. I hope your friendship would be a long one. You would both benefit from such an association, I am sure. Legendary hammer is said to hold the power of the spirit of the land. Tran takes the forging hammer in his hands. Something this strong and sturdy will make pounding even the hardest ores and minerals into malleable alloys easily. Discard. You can't possibly discard that orichalcum. It's far too important. So it seems Erdwin forged the original Sword of Light somewhere inside Mount Fuji. We should get back there and have a wee word with Miko's maid. She seemed like she knew a thing or two.
Listen.
Legend has it that Erdwin and his allies forged a Sword of Light in order to take on the Dark One. That means if we had a sword of similar power, we would be able to defeat the Lord of Shadows. Well, it sounds as though it's time to get forging.
How wonderful!
Let's get forging, honey. It's time for us to work together and make ourselves a brand new Sword of Light. And let's not accept any half measures, alright? We want something that's even better than the sword old Erdwin used, and twice as good as the Sword of Shadows.
Yeah!
Okay, you know the plan. We're going to forge ourselves a new Sword of Light and use it to take down the Lord of Shadows. Retracing the steps of the ancient heroes sounds like a good bet if we want to find the stuff we need.
Are you alright?
Once we have everything we need to forge a Sword of Light, we should head for Mount Fuji. Hopefully we'll find the crucible there where Erdwin and his companions forged the original sword.
A word, if you please.
Erdwin and his companions forged a Sword of Light themselves, did they not? That means we must do the same. Erdwin was a great man, of course, but a man nonetheless. There is no reason why you cannot replicate his achievements, Tran. Do you seek knowledge? No. I was mistaken. The light I saw in Mirage vanished like Miko. What is Miko lost? Could her flame be rekindled? Could it burn again? The Forge of Legend, Sacred Heart of the Mountain? Of this I have heard. Go to Miko's maid. Her knowledge surpasses mine. Ask her what she knows. We are in your debt. You did more than save our lives. You saved poor Ryu's soul. I must repay you. Do you have something to ask? Something I may know? Nope. I see. Very well, but I am at your service should the need arise. Tran asks if Miko's maid knows anything about the legendary forge of Mount Fuji. A childhood fable, the tale of a sacred forge, words half forgotten. The volcano's peak, a flame cast in its crater, the forge born again. But none may go there, a place not on any map, entry forbidden. Until now at least, take this gift, honored savior, destiny awaits. Tran receives the crucible key. A locked door awaits beyond at the sacred forge, untouched for aeons. Our elders warned us, avoid the volcano's heart or displease heaven. But you are chosen. Destiny has picked you up. Go, with our blessing.
I wasn't going to mention it, but...
We've got the crucible key, and now we can access the ancient forge. Come on, Tran, let's get moving. Ryu had already been transformed into the dragon by the time we arrived here. It was too late to save him, though it is painful to admit we could not have done more. At least Ryu did have a wee taste of freedom when he was released from the dragon's curse. Perhaps it was Miko that gave him those last moments of life. Aye, there's nothing more powerful than a mother's love. I've been thinking about the dragon's curse, Tran. Who knows how many others fell victim to it before Ryu and Miko? It's just awful to contemplate.
You wanna speak with little old me?
Otto's had a tough old time of it, but once the tourists return, it'll be back to its fabulous old self before you know it. Miko and Ryu won't be around to enjoy the village's bright future, of course, but let's hope that they're up there somewhere looking down on everyone.
What's up?
If we throw the guiding light into the volcano, an ancient forge will be reborn. Well, that's what Miko's maid said anyway. It sounds like something we need to check out.
Oh, hello.
Opens the way to the legendary forge in the heart of Mount Fuji. Tran turns the crucible key over in his hand. With this, the doors that lead to the heart of Mount Fuji and the great forging place within it will open before him. Forbidden place. No one has seen for aeons that most sacred site. Take care, Wanderer. Even you cannot outmatch the volcano's strength. We'll see about that. No.
Now then, laddie.
Pico's maid spoke of using the guiding light to call forth the ancient forge. Well, we may as well give it a try, eh? Come on, laddie, let's throw it into the lava and see what happens. I mean, it has to be better than standing around here scratching our sweaty heads.
You wanted to speak to me?
It seems this place has been off limits for a very long time. I understand that. The place where the luminary forged a sword of light is a sacred place, after all.
Darling.
Well, this is where the first luminary forged a sword of light, right, honey? But where's this crucible thing we're looking for? I don't see any places for pounding hot metal around here.
I've been thinking.
You have to hand it to Erdwin and company. This is an impressive spot to forge a sword. I guess a regular blacksmith was never going to cut it, right? Nope, you need a whole volcano to make the sword of light.
Dear me.
The heat is almost unbearable.
Could it be?
Ancient legends may have spoken of a forge within the volcano, but it is nowhere to be seen. The guiding light is pulsating strangely. Offer it up to the volcano? No!
Looks like the guiding light is trying to tell you something, laddie. Why don't you try offering it up and see what happens?
Let me toss you in.
What's happening?
Whoa. It's beautiful! This is the place we saw in the vision. I'd know that decor anywhere.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's make a new Sword of Light so we can go chop the Lord of Shadows down to size.
Crucible.
Did you want to talk to me?
You feel it, Tran, the sacred power that emanates from the center of the crucible? It's clear that's where we need to forge our sword. How extraordinary. I have no idea how this place was constructed, and I suspect that questions of who built it and how shall forever remain a mystery.
Let's have a nice wee chat, shall we?
Did you see how the whole crucible reacted when you held up the guiding light, laddie? However the ancients built it, they made sure that only the luminary could trigger their contraption. There's something about the design of the crucible, something that really draws you in. And you know the strangest thing? It feels familiar somehow.
Just the person I wanted to talk to.
That was so dramatic. Watching the forge rise up from the fiery lava, the tension was incredible. Those ancient folks really knew what they were doing. They were proper showmen. I can't believe the forge we were looking for just came rising out of lava like that. Anything we make here is going to be pretty special, that's for sure. Come on, Tran, let's gather everything we need and then get forging. Great power emanates from within. This certainly seems like a place where a legendary sword could be forged. Use the forging hammer to work the orichalcum and make a new sword of light? No! Hehehe.
I'll take it from here.
I'm not about to let you steal all the glory, honey. If you get to have a go, we all do.
Aye. And besides, we saw in the vision that the old heroes all had a bash. we'd best follow their lead, eh?
Yep, we're all in this together.
May the new Sword of Light be tempered by the resolve of all those who would drive darkness from this world.
Well, I'm game if you all are.
If I hadn't met you, I'd never have been able to save Mia and make things right. Now it's my turn to help you.
Haha! Let's get this sword made and the world saved! I've got people to entertain and a promise to my papi to keep.
Eleanor, Erwin, your boy turned out all right. And now I'm gonna help make sure he fulfills his destiny.
I thought it was my job to stand behind the luminary. It's not. I'm supposed to stand beside him. We all are.
I hereby pledge, as a knight of Heliodor, to fight to the end for the cause of the Luminary. May I be his sword, his shield, his unswerving companion.
Veronica, I promise to finish this without you. I'm stronger now, thanks to you. For the Luminary!
Did we do it? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. Pick that thing up and give it a swing.
Tran acquires the Sword of Light.
Your allies are assembled. You have the means to take to the air, and now you possess the Sword of Light. The time to face the Lord of Shadows is at hand.
What he said. Let's finish this.
Finally, time, Tran. We're finally going to do it. Let's use the Calamus flute to summon Cetacea. She'll be able to take us to the Fortress of Fear, I'm sure of it. Ready as we'll ever be. Awarded for reforging the Sword of Light with the help of your friends, and setting out with it to see the Lord of Shadows toppled. We've got a sword, we've got a ride, what more do we need? Lord of Shadows, here we come. It's time to bring the story to an end, Tran. Let's saddle up and head for that floating fortress. We need to make that monster pay for what he's done.
I wasn't going to mention it, but...
If I'm honest, the thought of facing Mordegon in battle still terrifies me. Don't worry, Tran. I'll conquer my fear. I'm not going to run away. Lord of Shadows must be defeated, and peace must be restored to the world. It's what Veronica would have wanted.
Yes.
You feel it too, don't you, Tran? All the trials we have been through have only served to make us stronger. Now that you wield the Sword of Light, we have nothing to fear from the Lord of Shadows. Yes, we were defeated before, but things have changed. It is time to go to him. It's time to finish this.
Listen up, laddie.
Eleanor, Erwin, it's finally time. Your wee boy is about to fulfill his destiny. He's going to defeat the Lord of Shadows and save the world. Watch over him, won't ye? Make sure he comes home safe and well.
I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but...
Mordegon has brought so much despair to the world, but now that we have the Sword of Light, I finally feel hope returning. Do you hear us, Lord of Shadows? Your time is coming to an end. You will pay for all you have done, mark my words.
How wonderful!
You know something, honey? That sword really works for you. You've never looked more stylish. It's more than just a fashion accessory, though. Let's go and show the Lord of Shadows how sharp it is and put the smiles back on people's faces. Will deal lightning damage when attacking. Cures a single ally of negative status effects when used as an item in battle. A new symbol of hope for Erdrea, whose blessed blade can banish all ills. Having summoned the great Cetacea, Tran and his friends take to the skies in search of a means to defeat the Lord of Shadows. They find the floating island Benedictus told them of and enter the Temple of Dawn. There they meet a child, the last of the Watchers. Tran recovers the guiding light from the depths of the temple and turns his attention to the Yggdrasil saplings surrounding it. Examining each in turn, he is granted visions of Erdwin, Luminary of Legend, and his companions gathering ore and a great hammer, and crafting a mighty sword with them at an enormous forge. The friends see that the sword is what they will need in order to defeat the Lord of Shadows, and set out to follow in Erdwin's footsteps and forge it for themselves. Having gathered the orichalcum ore and the forging hammer with which the sword can be crafted, they make their way to the Crucible, where they set about creating this incredible weapon. Now, Sword of Light in hand, they set out for the Fortress of Fear to face the Lord of Shadows at last.